Let's break it down straight from the hill to your hometown. No spin, no hype, just facts we find. AI's on the case, no truth left behind. Laws are written, deals are made. Who's got your back, who's throwing shade? We cut through the noise, decode the text, keeping it real. Congress in context, Congress in context, shining the light, breaking it down so you know what's right. Policies, votes, who's working for you? We bring the facts, the power is you.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the U.S. Congress. We've got a stack of documents right here, straight from the source, the Congressional Record.
Yep, the official chronicle. We're looking specifically at Friday, May 23rd and Monday, May 26th, 2025.
And this isn't, the splashy headlines. The Congressional Record details the actual proceedings, debates, communications, everything happening on the Hill.
Exactly. And our mission today, our deep dive, is to sift through all that official material.
Right. The raw ingredients of governance. We want to bring you the key insights, maybe spot some legislative trends, and find those little facts that show what's really going on.
Think of it as your shortcut, Congress in context.
Congress in context. Perfect. So let's start with the week itself. Friday the 23rd, Monday the 26th. That's right around Memorial Day weekend. What does the schedule in the record tell us?
Well, it tells us things significantly slow down, at least on the floor. On that Friday, the House met at 10 a.m. Mr. Smith of Nebraska was presiding as Speaker pro tempore.
Okay, so a temporary speaker running the show.
Right. Appointed by Speaker Mike Johnson, according to the record, and they went through the standard opening procedures.
The usual stuff listed. Prayer by the chaplain, Reverend Kibben approving the journal.
Yeah, the journal being the official record of the previous day.
Yeah.
And the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay, and the chaplain's prayer mentioned Memorial Day.
It did, specifically honoring fallen heroes. But here's the striking part. The session was incredibly brief. Adjourned at 10:02 a.m.
2 minutes. Wait, unpack this. They gathered, did the formalities, and just adjourned until Monday.
Pretty much. Precisely. And then Monday, May 26th, Memorial Day itself, they met again. But again, very briefly, 9 a.m. start. Mr. Elsie presiding this time.
Same routine. Prayer, journal, pledge.
Yes. Chaplain Kibben again. This time her prayer referenced names on memorials, headstones, the sacrifice of patriots. Very fitting.
And then?
Adjourned. 9:03 a.m. Done until Thursday, May 29th.
Wow. So 5 minutes total of formal session time across 2 days, bracketing a major holiday.
It gives you a really clear picture of how that legislative calendar works around holidays. And the Senate wasn't even in session that Monday, scheduled to come back Tuesday.
So the insight here isn't just they took time off. It's that while the floor might look quiet, the documentation in the record shows a ton of other work keeps flowing.
Exactly, because the Congressional Record is way more than just floor action. It's the official archive for communications, including really important stuff from executive branch agencies.
Right, the executive communications. That's a huge part most people don't see.
A significant list just on that Friday, May 23rd. These are formal letters, final rules coming from various departments to Congress.
So this is the agencies doing their job, implementing laws Congress passed, and sending the details back for review, like oversight.
That's it. It's a constant feedback loop. You see the Department of Agriculture sending rules on agricultural marketing, grazing boards. The IRS sent rules on estate tax user fees.
And the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, looked really active in these excerpts.
Oh yeah, very active. They sent numerous final rules. It covers a huge range, reducing pesticide exposure for vulnerable species, air quality rules for specific states.
I saw Indiana, California, Texas listed.
Michigan, Washington, Alabama, Ohio too. Plus, rules on PFAS chemicals, those forever chemicals under the Toxic Substances Control Act.
It's fascinating how technical these entries are, but they show the sheer breadth of regulatory action. This is policy hitting the ground.
Absolutely. It's the agencies putting the laws into practice. And the record captures that whole process. It wasn't just environmental or tax stuff either.
What else?
The FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, sent rules about TV broadcast allotments, changes in Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana.
So this flow of communication, even on quiet days, shows agencies implementing laws and reporting back to the relevant committees. It's the gears of government turning.
And another core function recorded, even in a short week like this, is introducing new legislative ideas, new bills and resolutions.
This is where you see what issues members are prioritizing, what problems they want Congress to tackle.
And there was a significant amount of that, even with those short sessions. Friday alone, 40 House bills numbered H.R. 3574 through 30613, plus 6 House resolutions.
40 bills. And then more on Monday.
2 more House bills on Monday, H.R. 3614 and 3615. So 42 bills, 6 resolutions total.
Just looking at the titles gives you a snapshot, doesn't it? A real mix of concerns. Veterans and military life seem to stand out.
Definitely. Several bills focus there. Things like veteran life insurance, creating an Office of Veterans Experience.
Improving readiness and employment programs. Expanding health care for Gold Star spouses.
Right, even specific VA services for Native Hawaiians, and helping transition military credentials to civilian jobs. It shows that ongoing focus on service members and vets.
There was also that interesting one about military history. Rescinding Medals of Honor from Wounded Knee in 1890.
Yeah, that shows how legislation can be used not just for future policy, but also to address historical issues or reevaluate past actions.
Connects to broader trends, right? Even on quiet days, members are constantly generating ideas, identifying problems. Congress as an idea factory.
Absolutely. Beyond veterans, what else caught your eye in this batch?
Well, the justice and rights category was pretty active. Proposals on wireless devices in prisons, preventing former officials from lobbying on foreign military sales.
I saw that. Also, establishing a forensic grant program, dealing with larceny during natural disasters,
Right.
or one that always gets attention, a bill to remove qualified immunity.
That's a big one. Potentially huge implications for government accountability, how citizens can sue officials.
For sure. There were also bills on requiring immediate medical attention for people in custody, and even one to transfer the U.S. Marshal Service to the judicial branch.
Whoa, that's a structural change. Moving a whole law enforcement agency. Raises questions about separation of powers.
It does. And then in economy and labor, bills range from using 529 education plans for transportation.
To trade evasion measures, incentivizing domestic production of printed circuit boards.
And even fair labor standards for incarcerated firefighters. That's maybe not an issue you'd immediately think of federally.
That's the value of digging into the record, isn't it?
Yeah.
You see this immense range of specific issues members are championing, often driven by constituent needs.
And every single one lists its constitutional authority statement.
Right, where the member has to say which part of the Constitution gives Congress the power to pass their specific law.
It's a formal requirement, constantly grounding the work, even niche bills, in arguments about federal power. Usually Article 1, Section 8, Commerce Clause, General Welfare, Necessary and Proper Clause.
So, introducing bills is step 1. Getting support is step 2. The record tracks that too, right, with co-sponsors?
Yep. The lists of additional sponsors shows which members are signing on to existing bills. It's a simple entry, but it's a key indicator of, legislative strategy, coalition building, which ideas are gaining traction.
And then there are personal explanations. What's the deal with those?
That's when members formally state, for the record, why they missed specific votes. The roll call votes where everyone's vote is recorded.
And they say how they would have voted.
Exactly. It ensures their voting intention is officially documented even if they couldn't be there. We saw a couple from Connecticut members.
Yeah, one missed votes due to travel delays, stated they'd have voted YEA on roll calls 132 and 133.
And another member missed votes on that Friday because her military plane had mechanical issues coming back from a trip to the Holy See. She also stated she would have voted YEA on those same 2 roll calls.
It's a small thing, but it gives you that human glimpse, doesn't it? Travel problems happen, but for Congress members, there's this formal process to log the impact, kind of revealing.
Definitely. Now let's get into one of the richest sections, often very locally focused, the extensions of remarks.
Right, this is where members insert statements, not usually spoken on the floor, but they become part of the official record, highlighting constituents, local events, making points.
And these excerpts had a really diverse set, some quite pointed, like that statement from Mr. Thompson of Mississippi.
Yeah, politically charged. He was criticizing H.R. 1, calling it the one big ugly bill, arguing it wasn't really about border security, but about tax cuts and health care cuts.
He made specific claims, right? A $12 billion Lone Star kickback for Texas border ops, funding mass detentions, a DHS slush fund. Pretty strong language.
And urged colleagues to reject it. It shows how members use this section to get strong political arguments into the permanent record.
Absolutely. But beyond that kind of sparring, a lot of it was focused on honoring people and communities.
Yeah, lots of recognitions for Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, honoring doctors, veterans, artists, community leaders from a member's district.
Tributes to people who'd passed away, recognizing local businesses hitting milestones like 50th anniversaries,
Yeah.
celebrating community events.
And Memorial Day was a big theme here, too, beyond the formal prayers. Members offered personal reflections.
We saw Mr. Bean of Florida reflecting on Arlington, quoting JFK and a Navy vet about duty and sacrifice.
And Mr. Thompson again, using Memorial Day to remember Philip Gibbs and James Earl Green, killed 55 years ago at Jackson State, linking it to the ongoing pursuit of justice.
It really highlights how the same event can be framed very differently, reflecting diverse histories and concerns. And all these perspectives become part of the official congressional narrative through these remarks.
It's like a mosaic, isn't it?
Yeah,
Concerns, celebrations, political points, local stories, all formally documented.
exactly. So let's pull it all together. We've seen brief formal sessions around a holiday, but also this constant flow of executive communications, a flood of new bills on every topic imaginable.
Co-sponsorship, showing support building, personal explanations for absences, and then these detailed extensions of remarks. What's the big takeaway from just these 2 days?
It really underscores the multifaceted nature of congressional work. It's so much more than just the big debates you see on TV.
Yeah, even when the floor seems quiet, the machinery is running. Agencies implementing rules, reporting back, members generating ideas, introducing bills.
Building support, documenting their positions, recognizing their communities. It shows Congress's work is continuous, extending far beyond floor time.
It's a system constantly proposing, processing, reporting, documenting. Looking at the record gives you that upstream view of ideas and downstream view of regulations. It's the foundational stuff.
It's policy and governance taking shape, captured in detail.
So what does this deep dive mean for you, the listener? It means government activity is incredibly broad, touching everything from, say, air quality in Ohio to support for incarcerated firefighters to how historical events are remembered.
It shows that behind the headlines, there's this constant, complex process. Legislation being proposed, oversight happening, members making sure their voices and their communities' voices are heard and documented.
The Congressional Record is the archive for all of it. So maybe the provocative thought to leave you with is this. Considering the huge range of issues we just touched on from only 2 days,
Which parts of this process or which specific topics feel most relevant to your life, your community?
and how might just knowing this record exists, understanding its purpose, empower you to stay informed, or maybe even get engaged with the issues that matter most to you?